Hey guys, and welcome to another In-Depth. So today I want to talk to you about the kind of age-old thing of communication. Now, communication is super important, not just if you have depression, but for everybody. Everything works because we communicate with each other. If we have a breakdown in communication, shit happens. Sometimes bad epic war shit, sometimes just stroppy, I'm having a tantrum shit. But communication is such an essential and key part of our lives that it's really worrying when you feel you've lost your sense to communicate with the people around you. Now, I'm incredibly lucky in a way. While I may struggle to communicate what I want at times, I do have a good enough support network around me of people who know me super well, like my parents and Rachel, that I can just have a slightly off mood and they will know that something's bothering me. Sometimes it will just be a what's up, and I'll just be like nothing, because that's kind of the default answer with everything in life. But they'll know when those times they'll need to persist because something really is bothering me and I don't know how to get it across. And sometimes I'll just be like, alright, she's actually just having a bit of an off day. Because it happens. Sometimes there is literally nothing you can pinpoint it on. And you're just like, I don't know, I'm just really pissed off. So, what drove this home for me was the other week when I was sick. And I realised how much I struggled with not being able to communicate just basic things with the people around me. So, for example, I had to write everything down if I wanted to talk to Rachel, or I had to try and, mime that I wanted chips at the chippy over the road. It was just one of those really frustrating things. And it kind of reminded me of how I was when I very first kind of had depression, and I didn't realise it was depression that I was suffering with. Where I just didn't know how to communicate things with other people. I didn't know how to verbally kind of show that I was anxious, or that I was stressed, or that I was just in need of a big old hug. So this isn't something that can be taught kind of overnight. It's really going to take some practice, and this video is good to watch if you have depression or not, or if you have someone in your life that has depression and you're not sure why they're acting the way they are, or whether the slight change in mood actually means anything. I can't give you yes or no answers for that, just so you know. It's literally it's a personal thing. My shift in moods will mean something dramatically different from someone else's shift in moods. But I can give you kind of a perspective of how I feel when I need to communicate something. First off, it's frustrating as hell. Not being able to verbalise your mood can be very stressful in and of itself, because you feel very trapped. A good example would be last night. I was so angry. I snapped at Rachel 3 or 4 times throughout the evening. I got frustrated with my mum. And I'm normally a really patient person. So they knew that something was up anyway. But I was in one of those moods that I was so angry last night, and I wanted to hit things, I wanted to break things, and I was bordering on tears, and I was just I can't do this. I literally cannot do this. So I knew that I wouldn't be able to tell Rachel what was wrong. I knew that as soon as I went to speak to him, I either wouldn't talk or I would start crying at him, and that's always frustrating as well because I hate crying. So I sent him a message, and it sounds like the most cliched thing in the world, I sent him a message, and told him what was wrong. And it sounds super easy, but it wasn't. It took me like half an hour to like write this message, which consisted of I want to hit things and cry, and I don't know why. So it was really difficult, even for that short sentence, to kind of get my point across. But I find that it worked really well, because as soon as he got the message, he kind of looked at me, and I couldn't look at him. I refused. I was just like staring at my keyboard. And he got up and he sat on the chair next to me, and he was just like, do you want me to get the boxing gloves out? And I'm just like, no, because I'll probably just fall over when I'm boxing and break things. Good tip, if you have someone you can box with, really helps. But then he was just like, are you sure? And I'm just like, no, I don't know. Because I really just wasn't in the mood to communicate with him at all. And he goes, well, okay, like, give it a couple of minutes, just get a couple of swings in and see how you feel. I'm just like, fine, okay, I'll do this, I'll be good. And that couple of swings turned into a full hour workout session, which at the end of, I felt really good. Because one, I'd communicated to him that I needed help getting rid of some of my frustrations, and he'd come up with a solution that did help to get rid of my frustrations. I am sore as fuck today. Like, my legs hate me. Because there were squats in this workout. What was meant to just be like a quick kind of, okay, I'm just going to punch pad things, turned into like, I was doing yoga, and I was doing squats, and I was like doing knee up things. Oh my god, I don't know how that happened, but I'm really glad that it did. One, because working out is good, and two, because it helped. But taking that initial step to get that help was so scary. And it's someone I trust. I trust Ravepool with my life. That, you know, I was so scared to tell him these things still really frustrates me more in a way. But yeah, so writing things down I find helps. Even if you write them down and don't necessarily send them to someone. I know someone who kept like a open diary system for their moods. So they'd write it down, and write the date and write kind of what happened and if they knew what triggered it and everything like that. And then it would be left for other people in the house to read. And I thought this was a really interesting idea, because while it doesn't deal with your frustrations at the time, there's normally a really healthy amount of guilt that goes with depression. Well, I say healthy. It's normally quite unhealthy. But you feel a lot of guilt about doing things that necessarily you didn't even do. And so it would have things like, was really frustrated after a day of work, snapped at so-and-so, you know, I feel like, and just writing it down. And you don't have to be in the room when other people read it, but then they know what was happening in your headspace at the time. And from that point, they're able to kind of take that information and go, okay, well, they were feeling frustrated from work on that day, and they reacted like this. So when they see that mood again, they're able to go, do you want a cup of tea? It helps. Even indirect communication helps the people around you work out how to respond, because it's sometimes just as frustrating for them that you've got this person and you really want to help them, but you don't know what's wrong and you don't know how to help them. And sometimes we don't know how, you know, we can be helped out of our mood. We don't have a clue what's wrong, and that's frustrating and annoying as fuck, and like one of the worst feelings in the world. But if you open a channel of communication with the people around you and get a support network going that way, it means that they're more likely to be able to help you. I mean, if you're having a whole kind of fucking Hulk rage day they're probably going to stay out your way, because that's what everyone does to me. But other times, if they just, sometimes it might be the stupidest thing, that they will notice that you might play a certain song when you are really in need of, you know, talking to someone, and a hug and a cup of tea and a bit of companionship. And so they know as soon as they hear that song that, you know, it might be worth knocking on the door and checking if you're okay. And, you know, if you turn around and say, like, no, back off, I want to be on my own, brilliant. If you want the hug, brilliant. But it means that the people around you have an idea of how to help, or potentially help. It doesn't always work, it's not a foolproof method, but it has certainly aided me, the writing things down, and normally it's sent by text message, and a lot of it is after the fact, where I go, I'm really sorry that I had to go at you, I'm feeling really down. And like, if you feel uncomfortable saying outright, I thought about hurting myself, or I, you know, really, really wanted to hurt someone else, or, you know, I've been having suicidal thoughts. If that's too direct and too scary for you, because it is, to turn around and say to someone that you care about, I legitimately thought about killing myself today, is a terrifying prospect, because you feel all kinds of fucking emotions. You feel weak, you feel frustrated, you feel scared. A lot of the time you don't even understand why you want to do it, especially if you're in that process of, like, recovery. Suddenly getting suicidal thoughts, I still get them. Kind of suddenly getting a suicidal thought and just thinking, well, you know, everyone would be better off without me. It's terrifying, because you just think, but I'm doing better. Why, head? Why are you doing this to me? And so come up with, like, code words. So have things like, you know, I use a lot, like, and now Rafe Paul uses it when he talks to me. If he feels that my mood's off, he'll be like, have you had a bad head day? Which just means, have you had, like, a lot of negative thoughts? Have you been struggling with ideas? And I'll just be like, yeah. At which point he knows that a slightly different approach might be needed if he has to, you know, give me bad news, or even good news, you know, or talking to me in general, because I will respond differently on those days than I will to others. So yeah, come up with code words. That I found that one has been super helpful. And for all the people out there who are watching this that don't suffer with depression or anxiety or anything like that, my biggest advice to you would be there to be supportive, but don't push them. Don't push someone who doesn't want to talk, because you won't be helping. Just be there, make it really obvious that you are there if they do want to talk, and do silly little things that you know might make them smile. And I do mean, like, silly little things, like leaving notes drawn with stick men, or I'm trying to think of a good example that Rachel does for me. Like, he will send me out of the blue fucking text messages of unicorns or something like that, and I'm just like, what the why? But it's so random enough that it will lift my mood. So, you know, be supportive, but don't be too, like, tell me exactly what's wrong right fucking now or I'm leaving, because that helps no one. That's another breakdown in communication, where the person feels pressured and they are far more likely to kind of clam up and just be like, no, don't want to deal with this. Depression is very, like I said, it's a frustrating thing on both sides of the scale. It really is. I've had times where I've had to deal with my friends who had depression, and you think I'd be great at it, suffering it with it myself, but honestly, like, it's so different when you're dealing with another person compared to dealing with your own experiences. So what works for me won't work for someone else. which is why I'm trying to give you very broad generalization kind of ideas of how to kind of get points across, or for people reading those points kind of spotting things. Everything is about nuance. It's about all the little details that you might miss. So you're going to have to pay a bit more attention. Both sides of the coin this is on. You're going to have to pay a bit more attention about how you're reading people and how you're putting yourself across. And the other thing that this has really, really like taught me is, I know this is aimed at anyone with any depression, anxiety, anything like that. I know how hard it is to communicate, and how we can almost feel a little bit self-centered as we do it. But don't be scared. If you have a good support network with you, they will understand. And they will often understand that you're distracted when they're trying to rant about their hard day, because you're thinking, you know, I don't know. You can't get it in your own headspace about their hard day when you're focusing on how hard it's been to keep your shit together today. That's totally natural. So you just need to work on it. This is a very slow process. It has taken me years to build this process up. It isn't going to be a quick overnight fix, as much as I would love to give you that video. It is just, it's trial and error a lot of the time of what will work, what people might understand. And, you know, it's going to be like, Argh! But it's worth doing. If you've got people who you know are staying in your life, and then, you know, help them understand where you are coming from. I mean, it could be, like, get creative with it if you need to. If you want to write a story, like, a lot of my frustrations come across in my poetry or my short stories. I mean, I literally, like, I've written a story about me feeling trapped in a world that I don't belong, and things like that. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, woe is me. My story is reasonably comical, but also heartbreaking. It's about this zombie who doesn't realise he's a zombie. And so it's, get creative with it. You know, do this. Create vlogs to express your feelings, and then just leave them. Just put the point across that you just, like, you've made these vlogs. They're on this section of your PC. If you don't feel brave enough to post them online, because believe me, it takes a lot to do this. And then just say, you know, watch them when I'm not around, because I can't be around when Rafe Paul watches my videos. I can't watch them back. I feel really insecure. And then he'll watch them, or you can get someone else to watch them, obviously. And then they'll know how you're feeling, and then they will again know how to approach it. So it could be any form of communication. I wouldn't recommend, I was going to say you could scribble on the wall in crayon if you needed to, but I really wouldn't recommend that. It's a bitch to get off. Or talk to your cat. If you've got a cat, talk to your cat. Because sometimes just verbalising the fact that you are upset helps. So I realise this has been quite a long video. Thank you for kind of sticking with me. I didn't expect it to be that long. There are just a lot of points to kind of to get across. So yeah, communication, good support networks. Try to talk to the people around you. If you can't, then try writing it down in a book or a message, or try videoing it, or try making something creative out of it, or try the code words thing, so the I'm in a bad head day thing. and just see where you go with it. Like I said, this isn't foolproof, it isn't going to happen overnight, but these are things that I found have really helped me communicate with the people around me. So I hope this video has been informative. I hope you have enjoyed it and I haven't waffled on for too long for you. And yeah, if you like the video, then subscribe. If you've got any communication ideas that you use that I haven't covered, that I haven't thought of, then leave comments below, because I'd love to kind of try them out and see if they make it any easier for me to communicate with other people. And if you've got any feedback at all, positive or negative, throw that shit my way in the comments as well. So until next time, I will see you all soon. Have a wonderful day, and bye bye.